Wow. Just like clockwork, Jon Jones back to his old roots. He's been hit with new criminal charges by the Albuquerque Police Department. And before I get into detail, I want to just congratulate Jon Jones on his retirement. You know, it's not just that he was one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time. I truly believe this. I feel like being a mixed martial artist has really prohibited Jones from pursuing his true passions in life. And that is just being a criminal because he's been doing this over and over again. But now that he's no longer a part of the UFC, I feel like Jon Jones can just freely go about doing his business as a criminal. So I want to congratulate Jon Jones, and I hope that his career as a menace to society will prosper. There is a lot of details to cover, but basically, uh, apparently he was driving under the influence of alcohol, and the police had to pull him over quickly. So just to give you guys a brief rundown of what happened here, right? The Albuquerque Journal has further information on Jones's latest vehicular charge. Per the report, Jones allegedly fled the scene of a car crash, leaving behind a woman in front of the passenger seat. The passenger was exhibiting signs of significant intoxication and lacking clothing from the waist down. And she said Jones was the driver. The woman then called Jones on the phone. The person who answered appeared to be heavily intoxicated and made statements implying his capacity to employ lethal force through third parties. The person who answered refused to identify himself but continued to make allusions to violence. Jones was interviewed in person several days later. He claimed it was not him on the phone and that the woman in question left his home several hours before the accident. All right. Now, we're going to get to the bottom of this because a couple of hours ago, the Albuquerque Police Department released body cam footage of what went down. All right. And although it's going to be very shitty audio quality because it's body cam footage, you're going to notice a very familiar voice in this footage right here. So I'm just going to let this play. Hopefully, you guys can hear whatever the police department and Jon Jones has to say.
Were you the one driving the vehicle? My brothers attacked the dreams and the sisters and the cell phones.
He was the one driving the vehicle.
They split drills. They're the most evil people you'll ever meet.
That's Jon Jones.
Jon Jones?
He was the one driving the vehicle.
But they don't waste their cases with just killing you on petty crimes. But they definitely listen to conversations like this, and some of them are bored enough to kill you.
Now, okay, I can't really hear what he said, but basically he's just threatening this officer for kind of just stopping him for petty crimes, if you will. But I think you guys can kind of confirm that this is Jon Jones's voice. Anybody who's been watching the UFC, mixed martial arts in general for a while, knows how Jon Jones sounds, and that was clearly Jon Jones's voice. And although we can't really definitively prove whether or not Jones was behind the vehicle, would you be surprised if he was? Because I certainly wouldn't. I don't think anyone should. This is not the first time Jon Jones has been hit with a DUI, and this is also not the first time Jones has been very violent with women. But that being said, Jon Jones seems to disagree because he posted this 2 days ago saying that, quote, keep in mind, even the media can get it wrong sometimes if they don't have all the facts. Don't believe everything you read online. With a kissing emoji for some reason. All right, if you want to question the validity of media, sure. But I'm not going to question the media because of crimes that you were accused for. If anything, I would fully support whatever reporter, whatever media outlet is coming out saying that Jon Jones did some fucked up shit because Jon Jones has a history of doing this. All right, we can just backtrack exclusively to when Jon Jones has been either in a physical or violent altercation with women alone. All right. We go back to 2015. UFC's Jon Jones. Why fled crash with pregnant woman? All right. In an hour-long interview with MMA Fighting, Jones said that the night prior to the April 25th incident, Jones slept over at a house where he had gone to a party, believing he was too drunk to drive home. The next morning, the accident occurred. So I get in my car and was definitely still really tired, said Jones, who pleaded guilty to leaving the scene of an accident. Get in my car, and I remember being at a red light and I had my music going, texting on my cell phone, and I see the light turn green and I assumed it was my green light, but really it was a green light for the people that were going straight in traffic, and I was actually turning. So I just stepped on the gas, and when I saw the green light and found myself driving right onto oncoming traffic. Jones said that he hit one car, which then collided with another car, resulting in a pregnant woman breaking her arm. But he claimed that he assumed no one was injured since he wasn't hurt. Jones said that he freaked out and fled the scene because he assumed the police would think he was driving under the influence of alcohol. All right. Now we can just, based on this statement, assume that Jon Jones was under the influence of alcohol, and he was willing to leave a pregnant woman behind in order to save his ass. So right away, we if you're trying to make me question the validity of this body cam footage, you're not going to, Jon Jones. We've seen you do this before, and it won't be surprising if you did this again. But it's not just this one incident. He's been doing this for quite some time, all right? Jon Jones faces battery charge for alleged April strip club incident, calls it a malicious lie. All right, the UFC light heavyweight champion Jon Jones faces a battery charge stemming from an alleged assault inside a New Mexico strip club this April. According to the KRQE in Albuquerque, Jones, who at the time was 32 years old, claimed that through a spokesperson that he was unaware of the charges until the news station reached out to him. All right, the woman told Albuquerque police that Jones put her in a chokehold and picked her up off the ground per the news station. When he asked Jones to stop, she said Jones continued touching her until he decided to leave. All right, man. Like, okay, if you want to say that the media's got it all wrong, sure. But at some point, we got to admit that Jones and women is something's bound to go wrong. And I don't know. Maybe if this were the end of it, I would say, all right, maybe the media is making stuff up. Maybe the media is exaggerating things. But we have to look through two more incidents because again, this is not the first time Jones has really been violent with women. Now, up next, we got to talk about Jon Jones and his fiance, Jesse Moses. All right. Now, this isn't the exact article that this original story came from, but this is a basic rundown of what happened. In September of 2021, Jones was arrested and charged with misdemeanor battery, domestic violence, and injuring or tampering with the vehicle. The incident occurred the same night Jones was inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. Jones was detained on suspicion of domestic violence against Moses. A security guard at Caesar's Palace noticed that Moses had a bloody lip and blood on her clothing. She later said in a statement that Jones got physical with her in front of their children. He was later released and pleaded no contest to a misdemeanor destruction of property charge. All right, now I'm starting to see a pattern here. For some reason, every time Jon Jones gets into a violent altercation or just causes some you know ruckus and chaos in the streets of Albuquerque, New Mexico, it always happens to be a woman is the victim. Now, I don't know what you guys want to take away from that information, but again, I think that Jon Jones and women together in the same room is going to result in bad things. Right. And last but not least, we got to look at Jon Jones and his altercation with a USADA drug agent. All right. UFC champ Jon Jones accused of threatening to kill woman collecting his urine for drug tests. All right. Now, this was about last year, and I believe this was when Jon Jones. I don't know if it was the second time he fought Stipe Miocic. I'm sorry, the second time the fight between Stipe Miocic was booked. But either way, basically the USADA agent Crystal Martinez She went to Jon Jones's home in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I don't know why it says 4 a.m., but on 4 a.m. on March 30th to collect urine for a surprise drug test on behalf of their employer. The police report states that Jones is accused of assault. Assault in New Mexico includes acts, threats, or menacing conduct that cause others to reasonably believe they are in danger of immediate battery. It also includes the use of insulting language. All right. Now, this is kind of a vague definition of assault, but would you be surprised if that woman got hurt in the process? I know she didn't get hurt. I know that Jones came out later saying, "Oh, it's just a misleading report and all that stuff." But why is it that every time Jones is out here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, all the women have to be safe from Jon Jones? All right, I feel like Jon Jones at this point, it's not just that he's a criminal. I feel like he has some kind of vendetta against women. Like he beat up his fiance. Like I don't know how any women in Albuquerque, New Mexico is safe at that point. And it's kind of clear that Jon Jones, this is like some innate like disturbing trouble. Like I have no other way to explain this. I think Jon Jones, quite frankly, he should be behind bars, not because he's done anything excessively crazy, but simply because if he's not, he's just gonna keep doing this over and over again, and it's gonna be a matter of time before one of these women get killed in the process. All right, that's gonna be for today's video. Leave a comment down below on your reaction to Jon Jones because I quite frankly have no reaction to this. I feel like this is quite normal, and the fact that I haven't seen this side of Jon Jones in quite some time was kind of disturbing. But now that I know that Jon Jones is fully ready to pursue his passions in just being a menace to society. I know that the real Jon Jones is still in there and not the PR driven Jon Jones who's just trying to act friendly in front of the camera. I hope that now that Jon Jones isn't burdened by the fact that he has to hold the UFC heavyweight belt, I hope that Jon Jones can fully dive into this passion of just being a criminal, especially against women. And I hope nothing stops him outside of the police. But yeah, other than that, leave a comment down below what you think. Make sure to like and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.